Incredible as always. Welcome back. So we're doing a little bit of an Amazon deep find. I know I usually do my deep finds for my horror movies, but here's the thing. I came across a movie on Amazon Prime a couple weeks ago called Funland from 1987. Cover looks kind of cool. It almost looks a little bit like it could be a horror movie. Secondly, I think it was recommending this movie because I'd seen something horror related. Thirdly, as I started the movie, I discovered that this movie was distributed by Double Helix and directed by a Mr. Michael A. Sampson, who, if that sounds pretty familiar, if those two things sound kind of familiar, fun little fact. Both the company and Sampson actually worked on Sleepaway Camp parts 2 and 3. So that's kind of why, if it does sound familiar for any of you Sleepaway Camp fans, that's why it sounds so familiar. And, you know, like I was saying, I think because I saw those two, I just kind of thought, oh, Sleepaway Camp, maybe this will be a horror movie, a decent, cheesy little horror movie. It's not a horror movie, but there is some cheesiness in this. And this actually has a couple of, like, faces in here. I mean, nothing like highly notable, anyone like overly successful, but a few of us who would like recognize, such as Bruce Mahler, who plays Mike. Now, for those of you who are having difficulty kind of picturing that face, he was the kind of the horny doctor in Friday Part 4, the one who's watching like the women exercise, doing like weird thing or whatever. And he's also in a couple of the Police Academy movies, I believe, at least one, but I think he's in a few. We also have David Lander, who's from Laverne and Shirley, and I know he's had a pretty successful career as a character actor. And there is actually a woman in here who plays the one of like the female security guards, who just makes this film, like, she doesn't have a lot of scenes, but she really makes this this movie. Loved that character. Every time she's on screen, I got excited because I knew she would have something wacky to say. Just saying. But you know what? Basic premise of this movie is that it is a amusement park, a theme park. You know, start of the season, everything, they're getting ready, and it happens that the owner ends up dying, and then this like mob family takes over. So then you see all these conflicting interests and everything. They're trying to cut costs, and they're just like getting rid of people who have been there for years, and are kind of like, well, who cares? We're trying to save money. So just like different like dirty politics and dirty money and all that. Like I said, I mean, this is not anything that is going to really stand out. I mean, I don't even know how many of you guys have ever even heard of this movie, who have ever actually seen this movie. Like I said, I mean, I kind of just randomly came across it because it was recommended by Amazon to me. So, but I mean, it's a goofy little movie if you kind of like a little bit of offbeat sense of humor. Pretty similar to actually Sleepaway Camps 2 and 3. It's very kind of like an odd film, kind of maybe strange a little bit with some of the humor. Very low budget, but it's kind of nice. I mean, then again, with how Double Helix was and everything, I should say, we were kind of expecting anything they released very low budget. I mean, how they went bankrupt and folded as they were starting to shoot Sleepaway Camp 4. So, I mean, that's just kind of the movie quality and movie type of movies that they were releasing. Nothing that really stands out to people. I wouldn't be surprised, and I could be wrong on this, but probably Sleepaway Camps 2 and 3 are probably the most well-known that came out of Double Helix Company. Just saying. But no, I mean, it's not anything terrible. If you're ever kind of like in a bind, I'm not gonna say go rush and like watch this movie because it's not anything. You're not missing much, but if you do ever just kind of find yourself not really knowing what to watch, if you're kind of like me, where sometimes you're just like, I need a break from a horror movie, I just want to watch something goofy, I don't want to really watch anything dramatic, I don't want to watch drama, nothing heavy, this'll do it for you. Like, maybe a couple of beers, invite a couple of buddies over, and just, like, rip on this movie. I mean, it's one of those movies where yeah, it's kind of dumb. It's enjoyable, but you're probably gonna kind of rip on it, like I said. But yeah, no, it's quirky little movie. I enjoyed it. I did, like I said, I love the little female security guard there. Something that I did love about this because it does kind of open up. Like I said, this is like beginning of the season, so like we're seeing sort of like some of their training videos and people going through like the hiring process and everything, and people actually getting hired, getting trained for their job. So I kind of did like that. I mean, I for some reason, because anyone who's ever had a job or a couple of jobs know how miserable and boring it is to sit there watching those training videos and then getting trained and everything. So to kind of see it as like in the theme park industry, I just kind of love that. So, but let me know, you guys, if any of you have checked this movie out. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Like I said, I had a little fun, good time with it. So let me know what you guys think. Till next time, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.